Okay. Getting started again on another stream. Let me make sure I've got everything in place before I get started. Right. 1 second. Okay, let's share the screen. We are in our terminal here, and we are going to run a dev command, which brings up Vite at localhost 3000, which we can copy. We can take over the browser, paste it, and we should see our banner thing, our Pokemon Battle Banner Builder project. We made some good progress on this. We can see that we now have like Drowsy, and he should be saying stuff when he comes in. Right. So what I want to do next is maybe have an option to be able to select a specific Pokemon. So where we left off, oh man, I have like, is Brave popular amongst tech community? I don't think so. I mean, popular, it depends what you would consider popular. Like, as far as the number one browser, it's probably going to be Chrome, and then maybe like Edge or Firefox or Safari. I would be surprised if Brave is above any of those in usage. But I like it because it's kind of got like privacy and ad blocking built in. So that's why I use it. And actually, another reason why I like it is because it's based on Chrome, which supports a lot of features that I want to build for anyway. And I like, actually, no, the number one reason I like it is because the dev tools are what I'm used to, because I used to develop in Chrome, but it has that nice privacy and performance and security stuff that Brave builds in. So that's why I use it. I don't think it's super popular in the tech space necessarily, but somewhat. Okay, so what I want to do, there's this really weird bug where because I have a field set here, this is like larger than it's supposed to be. Because if I set that to a div, it would actually be the right size. Or even if I set it to a dig, basically anything besides a field set. So I don't know what that deal is, but that's not what I'm working on today. What I want to work on next is getting like the list of possible Pokemon in here somewhere. So we're going to have a couple field sets actually. Close that. In our app, man, I really need to push up some of these changes. Look at all these changes. Let me push these up so in case anyone wants them, they're actually available. So assets, sure. Cries, audio. We've got the cries. I don't think I need any of these now. And then we can go, let's see, audio. We've got the images of all the Pokemon. We've got our scenery. That looks good. Okay, let me go to my changes. Oh gosh, there's a lot. I'm going to include 1,365 changes there. And actually, I'm going to take this one out. Let's see, anything that doesn't make sense here. Audio, cries. Let me just really quickly go through 1,000 files. I know some people using it when I started following software engineers. Yeah, I think it's mostly like, I think that probably mostly has to do to the fact that software engineers are more aware of tech related things. And so browsers that try to protect against things like scripting is just going to be something that tech people are going to be more aware of and therefore more inclined to do something about compared to the average person. Yeah, I mean, it's a good browser. It works fine. They have some weird stuff built in. Like you get paid if you turn on ads within the browser, and it just like does these pop-up things, which I am not particularly a huge fan of, but it's cool. All right. Yo, oh porridge, what is going on? I don't think we've formally met. Are you someone that I should know your name? Or are you just stopping in for the stream? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you? Let me save this really quick. Adding Pokemon assets. Good, cool. I haven't noticed you on the stream before. Have you been on before and I missed you, or what? Another quick question before I get into it. What is another good example of progressive enhancement? Well, you're new. I'm glad to have you here. Okay, so if y'all want the sort of sneak peek before I've actually announced it, I have announced it to my newsletter subscribers. But if you want to go to austingill.com, there's this article that I just published like 2 days ago. It's very long. It's like 4,000 words with a lot of in-depth examples. Well, I guess not a lot of examples. One very in-depth example. But that's one. So progressive enhancement examples could be, that one particularly is about making HTTP requests where what's up, Web Dev Journey? Good to have you back. I haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, progressive enhancement, you can make an HTTP request with HTML using a form element, which isn't super sexy because when you submit the form, it's going to reload the browser and either send the data in the URL of the new URL or as in the request body. Well, that's cool. I know we all get busy. I'm glad to have you here. So going back to that example, the way you can progressively enhance that is with JavaScript. So a lot of people will take JavaScript and use a fetch API and send like JSON to an API endpoint, and they call it a day. And the problem there is if the user has some sort of error with JavaScript loading, maybe there's a syntax error, maybe there's a network error, maybe they have a slow device or an old browser or whatever, that network request or that HTTP request just won't happen. So if you can build it with progressive enhancement in mind, you can build it so that it does like a nice user experience with JavaScript. And then if something fails, it kind of falls back to HTML. So it still works. It's not as pretty to do it the old way, but by kind of building two in unison together, you can provide users in the environment that supports it to have the sexy experience, and users in the environment that doesn't support it to still have a working experience. Yeah, check out that article. I think I spent a lot of time on it, so I'm pretty proud of it. So let me know what you think. Other examples of progressive enhancement. Another good example of progressive enhancement is right here. We're using Flex. Let's say, I think today it's probably not such a big issue, but when Flex first came out, an example of progressive enhancement was to design your layouts such that if you were to turn Flex off, it still looks good, right? So what I could do in this example is maybe take this form element, and like a good example might be to have this up above the form so that we know, like, I don't know, users kind of see what they're expecting to see. So you could like cut that. How do I cut that? Cut that out of there and paste it here. There you go. So you move the form below, or you move the form below the image, and then when you get to, so this is like emulating a user that doesn't have Flex support in their browser. So you have like kind of a decent experience, right? Everything is in one column. And then for the users that do support Flex, where is it? For users that do support Flex, we could say, okay, displays Flex, right? And then you could say, well, that should have worked. Why is that not working? Display Flex. I don't know why that's not working. Oh, because the form's, where's my form? My form got cut and pasted. There it is. Okay, I cut that and pasted it in the wrong place. Into the right place. There you go. So let's say that we are in we're in an environment where Flex is not supported. Now you can see that we have the image on top and the form at the bottom. That's kind of a nicer user experience, in my opinion. Something that makes more sense. So then we could say, well, when Flex is supported, we're going to set this to display Flex. Now we have the form on the wrong side, right? So then we could say Flex direction row reverse, right? And we know that Flex direction is going to be supported anywhere that Flex is supported because they were released at the same time. So here we get an experience where users that have Flex support in their browser are going to get the optimal experience, and users that do not have Flex support in their browser are going to get the fallback experience. Make sense? That's another example. Basically, I mean, almost anytime you do something with JavaScript, you can try and treat that as a progressive enhancement approach or opportunity. And if I could take a look at something, you would appreciate it. So let's take a look at what you're talking about. Let's see, what is over here? Imager. Okay, looks like we have some React code where we're going to say, what's going on here? Rookie mistakes are here. Okay, why don't you give us some background on what's going on? We've got if this.state.running. So we're looking at probably some React code with classes. Look at the bottom. Expecting component to not render after handle stop, yet it does. Okay. If it's running, set timeout. Some stuff is going on here. Okay, this dot set date, this dot state time. I think this is going to be a little bit more involved than I'm going to be able to handle right now. But I think we are connected on Twitter, so I can take a look at this and see after the stream, see if something stands out, and I can let you know. Actually, yeah, if you want to get back to me with like a code sandbox or a stack blitz example that's like actually running, then I can, you know, work with the running code rather than an image here, because this is a little bit harder to debug. Okay. Any other questions or comments or anything before we get into building some more Pokemon battle scene generator stuff? If you get it on Code Sandbox, will I take a look live? No. No, I think that's just going to be too involved, and I think probably too embarrassing because I won't know what I'm doing. And it's very important for me to look cool on these streams, which is why I only code Pokemon battle scene generators. No, that's not true. I'm happy to take a look at it, but I think that it's just going to be a little bit too like. It might not be super interesting for everyone. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes people want to watch the debugging process, but I think I also feel a little bit selfish in that I have time to work on this on the streams. So I want to, and I really want to get this project done. But I promise you, I will look at it and see if I come up with anything. Okay. In that case, let's get going because this is something that has kind of been bothering me. Whoops. There we go. Close this, get rid of that. And then in my app, so what we've got, what I want to do today, let's get rid of this SVG thing, is I have this Pokemon data. And this Pokemon data is a file of JSON. Just a JSON blob with all the Pokemon like name and then the attributes. And what I want to do is essentially create a list of options for a user to select from. So for here, they can like choose some information about their opponent, like a pre-select from the list of Pokemon. And then they can go ahead and like customize it how they want. So we'll grab that from the Pokemon data, which we will have to, man, we've got a lot of code that we're going to have to refactor at some point. Okay, so we have the, where am I going? Into the opponent information. So that's the file data. That's the preview stuff. I think right above the file data, we should have the actual Pokemon stuff. No, yeah, right here. In our data. So I guess up here is where I want to get started, where I want to say, okay, I've got the random Pokemon. And then here we're generating the random Pokemon name and random Pokemon image, right? So that's how we're getting this sort of, whenever I reload, I get the random Pokemon name and the random Pokemon image. So in addition to that, I need to create a list of the actual Pokemon and map it to like the ID and all of their keys. So I essentially need to take this list and transform it from a bunch of objects that are keyed by the name to a bunch of objects that, or an array of objects that are keyed by the number. Maybe something like that. So what we can do is say, there's a number of ways we can do this. And I can either work with an array of Pokemon objects, or I can work with an object that has keys being the Pokemon ID instead of the name. And I think what I'm going to do is work with an ID, because this is, yeah, I'm going to work, I'm going to work with an array of Pokemon objects. So I'm going to take this object to this random Pokemon, or this Pokemon data. What I'm going to do is convert this into Pokemon list. Const Pokemon list is going to equal object.entries from the Pokemon data. So that's going to get us, what we'll get as a return is the key and value. So the key in this from this object, the keys are going to be like this Bulbasaur, and then the values are going to be the object that represents Bulbasaur. So in fact, I don't even need the entries. I really just need the values, because I don't really care about the name, because in fact, the name I'm already going to have. So I only care about the values, which means our job is done. That was a lot easier than I thought. So the first item in the list is going to be this object of Bulbasaur. And that's going to be the list that we have. And I can show you that if we go to our app, into the template, and we go, let's see, below the form, below everything else, we'll just go down here. And if you are doing work in Vue, this is a very handy trick to know, you use the pre tag, which is an HTML tag, and then you can drop in your JSON object or JSON array, and we should see if I did it right. Yeah, this array of objects. So array, and then the first object is Bulbasaur, and then the second object is going to be Ivysaur. Perfect. We can filter the values if we want. We don't really need to. I don't really care. I'm not going to do anything with them, but I'm also don't really gain anything from getting rid of them. So now with that Pokemon list, we can grab a random value from that list by saying, instead of looking at the original 151, we're going to say Pokemon list dot length. That's going to give me a random number somewhere between 0 and the length of the list of Pokemon. So instead of calling that number, I'm going to call that index. And then random Pokemon is actually just going to be Pokemon list at the position of random Pokemon index. So that should get me a random Pokemon. And why do I care about that? I care about that because now that I have this list, cool, it's working, everything. Zorua I don't have an image for, apparently. Neither Stunfish or Durant, but Pikachu Liber I do. What's the difference between real RNG instead of PRNG with .random? I don't understand what you mean by real RNG instead of PRNG. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, I think the problem with those images is that I didn't actually download all of the images for Pokemon. I think I may have just generation 1. So handy little trick is we can actually very quickly limit the length of this list by just overriding length to 151. And now we should only get the first 151 Pokemon. Victory Bell, Nidoqueen, Muck, Jigglypuff, Golem, Alola, Farfetch'd, Galar. We may want to do something more like 300. Sorry, you heard random is pseudo-random, but not sure what that meant. Oh, okay. Yeah, so math.random in JavaScript is pseudo-random, and I don't think I have a good understanding of why it's not real random. So it's probably worth looking into that, or at least, you know what, it's just worth knowing that there is a difference between JavaScript's math.random and like a true random value generator, because apparently mathematically JavaScript's random generator has a higher probability of collision than like true random, which means if you need a real random, it's not the best tool. When would you need a real random versus this like pseudo random? I don't know if there's a hard fast rule for that, but just knowing that there's a difference and kind of having the awareness of mind to stop and say, am I looking for real random or am I just looking for like kind of random? In my case, I don't need real random because nothing of my application actually depends on true randomness. I just need like something that will kind of randomly grab an item out of this list. Hopefully that's a good enough explanation for you. Okay. Now that I've got, let's say, I'm going to say like the first like 300 Pokemon. That should be it. That should be good enough. I don't think I should have any missing images for that. Golduck, Growlithe, cool. Umbreon Skiploom. Great. Looks like we have some other newer generation ones, which is what we're looking for. Okay, what I want to do next is I want to separate a little bit more separation between the like field, I'm going to call it, which is like the background size, and the opponent. So it's not the field, it's like not the arena, but the area, location, scene. That's what we're going to call it. The scene is going to have this group of inputs related to it, right? And then that way we can end that field set. And I'm just adding this field set really for kind of semantic purposes, and also maybe a separation of logic. Like I'm including this legend to give some context to what this field set is about, so I can do some grouping around these related inputs. Functionally, or for accessibility reasons, there is some purpose to that, but also I think it just kind of helps me visually see it in my code and like think about it visually as separate things. So we're going to give that some margin on the bottom, or margin block end, I think. Margin block end, right? So now we have the scene has its own sort of visual separation, and then the opponent is going to have its own sort of visual separation. Now, with the opponent, I'm going to have some presets. And my presets, let's see, this is not going to be model, or this is not going to be bound to any data property. So we're not going to do reactive changes on this first one. This is going to be a label, is like a preset of opponents. We'll just call it Pokemon. So this is going to be a list of existing Pokemon in the game, so that what you can do eventually, because this is a battle scene builder, what I'm thinking is I want you to be able to customize the picture here and the text here, but I also want to make it easy for you to choose like something that exists. So we'll have a select that when you change it, it will update the opponent name and the opponent image with something, an existing Pokemon. Otherwise, you can go in here and you can customize this. This will be Sunflora, right? So you can customize this with whatever you want, and also you can customize the sprite with whatever you want as well, right? I still forget that it's got the sound effects whenever you upload it. Which is so great. Cool. So what we want to do with this is we're going to have a name that's like opponent preset, which I think in this application, it doesn't matter that it has a name or not. I think adding the name to an input is best practice. And then we're going to say that type is select, as if GitHub knew what I was saying. And then we're going to have options, which GitHub also seems pretty smart about. Now, the only change I want to make here is I don't think we need to do this ... like that doesn't make any sense. It's just going to be a map which generates a new array anyway. But what I want this array to be is, let's see, we're going to have an object that looks like this, right? Which is not going to be really good enough for me. What I'm interested in is the number and the name. So I'm going to take, this poke, and we're going to return a new object with some keys and values and stuff. Okay. What goes in here is dependent on what Vue or this V input component is expecting. So you can pass in just a name if we wanted to. We can pass in just a name, but to make this more interesting, I actually need to pass in a value, which is the Pokemon number, and then the label, which is the Pokemon name. So GitHub Copilot on top of it. Let's see. You got something else for me? I don't think you do. No, you don't, because nothing else goes there. Right. So what this is going to generate, we have the value and the label, and we want that because here's our select that we get. We want it to generate all of these options. Let's see. This is a bit small. So let's bump this up so you can see. So we want it to generate. Go away. How do I make this? Oh, there you go. Generate these options. Like Charmander is value 3. Man, these have the same value though. Yeah, Venusaur has. That's interesting. That actually makes sense. My Pokemon data is a little bit weird because you've got Ivysaur, and then you've got Venusaur, and then you've got Venusaur Mega, which is number 3. Which is thick fat, apparently. I'm not going to worry about that too much. But what we want essentially out of that is we want these options to have the value which corresponds to the Pokemon value, and then we want it to have a name which corresponds to the Pokemon name, which is good. Because that way, when we look, we see the actual Pokemon name, so we can do, we can click in there. We can also do a search for it by typing, or like Pikachu, right? And then when I select it, or when I change that value, what I want to do is have an event listener for that change. So those are my options. And then we're going to say at change. We don't want to update the data. We want to set opponent. And we'll pass the event to this function. Now, this function doesn't exist yet. So we need to create this function. That's my reactive data. That's my data. There we go. Function. Set opponent. What do you got? You are not quite what I was looking for, but close. So we're going to take random Pokemon index. I don't want random Pokemon. I want the, let's see, or I'm going to get the event from that. From that event, I'm going to capture the event. What is it? The event object. And then for now, let's just log so that you can see what we've got. Oops. Nope. There we go. We need to close that function, and we'll just do console log that event. So what this event should give us is the value of that event thing. Why can't I click on that? Oh, that's interesting. I can only reach it over here because it's behind that div. That weird field set problem. Okay. So the opponent Pokemon, right? I can come here and I can say, you're going to be Squirtle. And then when that change happened, we get this event where we can grab the target. The target is going to be that select. And yeah, it has all these options, blah, blah, blah. That's weird. Those classes should not be on that option. We get the timestamp, we get the type of change. Event target should have a value on it, which is, there you go, down in that list even further. Okay, there's all our Pokemon. And then down, 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 down. Here we see that the value was 7. And that's because the Squirtle's Pokemon number is 7. Okay. Any questions so far? Let me know. Any comments? Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. So that event, again, we get the select DOM node from const select equals event.target. That gives us the DOM node. And then we'll say const Pokemon num equals select.value. Now, I know that I'm going to want that as a number, I think. Yeah, because here we want to make sure that we compare number to number, not number to string. So we're going to say number of select. To be honest, I probably could have done this with just the name. Maybe that would have made more sense. Whatever. And then what we'll do is we'll say const Pokemon equals Pokemon list at number, which may not work because when we get a Pokemon of number 1, that actually is going to be the Pokemon in position 2 of the list. So let's say Pokemon num -1. And then we can say that the data.opponent name is going to be the Pokemon name, and the data.opponent URL. Again, these are our reactive properties that we have set up here somewhere. No, right here. Yeah, opponent name, opponent URL. Which means if I change this information, or if I select one, I should get that Pokemon. And I'm close. Okay, so we wanted Charmander and we got Venusaur, which means I may have been wrong with that -1. Where was that? Up here somewhere. Down here somewhere. Right here. Is that right? That doesn't sound right, because if I want the first Pokemon, which would be Bulbasaur, that should be Pokemon list at position 0. So let's try that. We've got Scizor, and let's see if we can get Bulbasaur. Okay. That looks like Bulbasaur. That's giving us Ivysaur. Well, let's see what's going on here. We're going to console log the Pokemon. We're going to console log the Pokemon number and see what we've got. Yeah, I had -1 there before, and I'm not sure why it didn't work, but let's see what we've got. I'm going to bring this down a little bit so I can see it. And then we'll see the Pokemon. We'll go to Bulbasaur, and we get num is 2, but we've got this number 1. Okay. Okay, what's going on here? The Pokemon num here is 1. The actual Pokemon number, or the Pokemon that we're... This is interesting. This should be -1, no? Pokemon num -1? think. Oh, you think I did have it right, and that was a picture of Ivysaur. That could be it. So let's go to Bulbasaur. Oh, you were right. Yep, that was definitely a picture of Ivysaur. You can tell because Bulbasaur has this green little blob thing, and Ivysaur has the branches and the red thing. Dang. Why? Come on. Kotin, you're supposed to be having my back on that. I had it right. I'm making a fool of myself out here. No, just kidding. This is looking pretty good now. Okay, cool. So the only other issue I think I have with this is right now we have a random Pokemon selected as Dugtrio. It would be nice if that was also the Pokemon that we had selected here, pre-selected. So I think what we'll do, I think this is easy enough. We have the random Pokemon that we select. So what we can do is go to our select. Where is it? The select here. And I think we should be able to just say, let's see, those are our options. And we're going to say the value is going to be already preset to the random Pokemon.number. So I think if I got that right, yep, it looks like as this changes, well, we've got a little bit of an issue because of these Gmax things, but let's see. Yeah, Datu. Cool, that's looking pretty good. So as you refresh the page, we're randomly selecting a Pokemon. You can change these things all you want. Yeah, because Caterpie should be Charizard Mega Y. What the heck, man? This is so weird. Okay, Venusaur, 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 and then Charmander. Not quite right. Charmeleon. I have a weird bug in my system right now. Wartortle, Squirtle. They're like off. Yeah, it's a weird problem with oh, I know what the problem is. The problem is that I'm selecting. Well, the problem is that I'm combining an array of values, and I'm basing like the search stuff based on the number that we get here, which does not correspond to the index in the array because this number exists multiple times for the same number can exist multiple times for different Pokemon. So yeah, a little bit of a bug. Nothing that we can't deal with. Okay, what is the solution here? The solution here is to strip out those duplicates. Yep. That's annoying, but that's okay. So I think this may. I think I've got this. Okay, we're going to say const Pokemon list is going to be an empty array. And then we'll loop over each item of Pokemon data. That is not going to work because that should be each Pokemon in Pokemon data, since Pokemon data is an object. And then we need to do something to be a little bit secure regarding something called prototype mutation in JavaScript, we have to say if what is it? Object dot has own property Okay, hold on. Yes, this is right. This is a very kind of obtruse way of adding some security. But I don't want to do it this way. I'm going to put that down here and I'm going to say continue. So has own property, what this is going to do is determine whether an object has a property, which might sound weird because we're looping over all of the properties in this object. But what can happen is you can technically there's a security vulnerability in JavaScript where objects can inherit from other objects, like inherit from a prototype from another object. And if you modify the original object, you can change the behavior of the object that you're looping over, if that makes sense. I don't know if I can really explain it very well, so it might be worth looking into that as well. But what I want to do actually is say that, yeah, Pokemon list, I'm going to push, I'm just going to push the, what do I want to do? What do I want to say? I basically want to skip any repeats, right? So if we already have a Pokemon at position 1, we know that we have Bulbasaur. So if Pokemon .num equals Pokemon list.length, and we're going to skip that one as well. What are you complaining about? Ah, that's not the Pokemon. Let's see, Pokemon key. That is the key. And then we're going to say const Pokemon equals Pokemon data at the key. And if the Pokemon number equals the Pokemon list.length, that means, for example, with this is a little bit convoluted, but hopefully I can explain my reasoning, is that for Bulbasaur's Pokemon ID is, or number is 1, right? So if Bulbasaur already exists in the list of Pokemon, we know that the length, it should match the length. We could, of course, do like a find or like do a search, but we know that the number, the Pokemon number corresponds to the length of Pokemon in the list. So this is a little bit of a shortcut, a little bit of an optimization. Probably an optimization we don't need because we're only going to be dealing with on the order of hundreds of Pokemon. So you probably won't even notice the difference in the performance. But I guess the other way we could have done this is say like this. We could have said, well, this is correct. But we could have said like if Pokemon list dot what is it includes has find would work. If Pokemon list dot find where the current item in the index matches the same, or I guess we would do, instead of the name, we would do the num. If you already find a Pokemon in the list with the same number, you can just like exit. This would iterate over each Pokemon in the list, so technically not as fast. I don't know. I don't even know if that sort of stuff makes sense. Like sometimes explaining code is hard. Okay, so moving on. At this point, we should have the unique Pokemon. So we should be able to say Pokemon list.push Pokemon, which means our list should now have, what is the big O notation for this? Oh, dang, you gonna put me on the spot like that with asking me big O notation questions? Let's see. So I think this would keep big O notation to O of n, whereas the other version would be like O of n squared, because for each Pokemon in the list, you would search through the list twice. Yeah, so find is O of n squared, whereas this is O of n. I think. This only loops through the list once for each Pokemon that we have, because the lookup of the Pokemon number compared to the length of the list is an operation, like it's an O of 1 operation. So yeah, O of n versus O of n squared, for those of you that care. And I actually could be wrong. I'm not an O of n. I'm not an expert at big O notation. But I am an expert at breaking my camera, apparently. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. We reload, and let's see if we fix this. If I pick Bulbasaur, we get Bulbasaur. If I pick Charmander, we get Charmander. If I pick Ivysaur, and we can see that now we do have only, like, we don't have the mega versions or whatever, right? We do have Nidoran and Nidoran female. That's nice. So that was the problem there, was we were relying on array indexes, but we were also relying on Pokemon nums, or like the ID, well, the Pokemon number, which apparently you can have multiple numbers for the same Pokemon, which makes sense because there's Mega and whatever other version. Not important for our little game here. So this is cool. As we change this, we're seeing that we're also updating not only the UI, but the Pokemon name. And then we could say we're actually going to battle which makes sense that we're modifying the name and we're modifying the UI, but we're not modifying the preset Pokemon. This is the UI, the experience that I want to provide. So if we change the presets, it updates the presets. If we change the name of the opponent or the image, then that's how that works. So next things next is we have a little bit of sexy experience to add, because as I change this data, let's see, as I change the file, like upload a new file, I want to grab a random Pokemon, right? So once again, I should probably change, like, abstract this so that it's simpler to just grab a random Pokemon. But I'm not going to right now. Oops. Where'd it go? But what I do want to do is base all of my random Pokemon operations on the same value, which is this Pokemon list. So when I upload a new file, we want to keep that experience where it randomly generates like a Pokemon cry, because if you upload a random file off your computer, I don't know what the heck that is supposed to sound like, right? But when we change an opponent, we do know what that cry should sound like. So we're actually going to do kind of this exact same thing. And we've got the Pokemon, we've got all this. We're going to create an audio file, and we're going to, let's see, random file is that ID. So here, random file is actually not going to be random. It's going to be the Pokemon.num. So now, if I set this to Let's go to Bulbasaur. I should see the Bulbasaur cry, and if I set it to, let's see, if I set it to Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur. So now we're not getting random ones. Can you even hear that? Hold on. Let me see. Let's pause the music. Cool. Oh man, we're making some good progress. We're introducing some fun bugs that are kind of a pain in the butt to deal with, but we are getting some good progress. So bump that sound effects up. And if I change this back and forth between Bulbasaur and Ivysaur, we should see the name change, the sprite change, and we should get the sound effect that corresponds. Like as we swap back and forth, we should hear the same two cries. Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur. Oh geez, I'm in the wrong spot. Venusaur jumping in. Telling me to get back to work. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Nostalgia sound effects are great. Yeah, that's right. Just wait. I actually I was thinking I may have to put a little like button here that plays I'll show you which sound. This is going to be the best sound to play. Where is it? Here we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I want open. There you go. You ready? You ready? You ready? You're not ready. Apparently I'm. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's so good. Okay, enough of that. Yeah, of course you called it that it has to be the battle theme. So I was thinking it would be really cool to just have that playing as you're like doing this. Probably get really annoying too, but yeah, I thought that'd be funny. So unfortunately, we can't just like we'd have to have a button or like some user interaction that triggers that. But I don't know. We'll figure that out another time if we want to do that. Now, the opponent Pokemon is being set. So cool. I really do need to disable or have a way to enable or disable sound effects though eventually. And let's see. Beedrill. So we've got the sprites, we've got these things. I think it would be cool to like also set the health bar. So let's do another health bar thing. I'm going to do it in my data properties now because this actually will need to be reactive. And we've got opponent name, opponent URL. And we're going to say opponent health. And that's, yeah, it's going to be 100. Sure. We need to take that and pass it opponent URL. Here we go. Down here, opponent health. That's not what I wanted. Do the thing. There you go. Opponent health going to app preview. App preview now is going to take opponent health, which is a type of number and defaults to 100. If we do not provide it, of course, we are going to provide it. And then what I need to do, what I need to change here, one thing that I do not like is that we are using a progress bar. This was the wrong choice because, of course, a progress bar, while it was handy for us to use a progress bar for styling, like it certainly feels like a good element to use. Semantically, it kind of doesn't make sense there because that's not really representative of progress. I mean, technically, I guess you could say that as you progress down to 0 health, you're progressing towards defeating your enemy. But I don't think that makes sense. So we may want to rebuild this as like, I don't know, just a div really, or is there some way else to represent it semantically? This is kind of a funny thing to consider, because this whole thing, after all, what we're building is just a giant image, right? Like this stuff doesn't actually technically need semantics, as long as the image alt text represents it accordingly. So I don't know what we'll do there in the long run, but for the time being, I think that doesn't make sense as a progress bar, and that was a little bit of just a convenience thing, which is not what we are here to do. We're here to do things well, right? So let's see. We're gonna have a div. We're gonna essentially have a class. Let's see. There's health bar. And then we're going to give that a class equal to health bar underscore bar, because that represents the actual health bar. And I think that should be good enough for me to add some styles to. We've got the health bar, the opponent, we've got the progress here. And we're going to start moving these styles over here. So we don't need this anymore. We can copy this over here. And we're actually going to get to play with some colors, though, because we can modify as the opponent's health changes. So that's not it. We do want this height. And then we're going to need to set the width, I think. How am I going to set the width? Essentially, where is it? This div. Oops. I need to move that up, and we're going to go to styles, and we're going to say that this can have a width of 100%, which is great. But that's 100% of the parent, because if I get down to like 50%, you can see that it's actually a little bit over 50%. And that's because this is based on the width of the parent, which includes the HP here. So this is another little bit of a dilemma, is how do I want to do this health bar? Do I even need to do this health bar? I don't know. But I think it's fun. I think it adds to the appeal. So how am I going to do this, folks? Let's get the music back on. So how am I going to do this? I mean, the easy answer is to put another div within a div. I don't love that idea. But I guess I don't really hate it either. I could use a div and then a before and after, but I have to account for the width, and it wouldn't. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, we've got this div, which is the health bar. right? Doot. There's my health bar. It's actually going to have a width of 100%. So, and a height of 0.5 rem, sure. Background color actually doesn't matter at the moment. Boop, 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 boop. And then what we're going to do is it's always going to have a width of 100%, and it's going to set a custom property called, health, which is going to be 100%. And then what we'll have is we're going to have a before element with a content of empty string, a height of 100% so that it fills the health bar height. Actually, that probably doesn't even matter. We'll just cut it from there. That one is going to have the background color of lime green. And let's see where we are right now. You have a div. Inside of that div, there's this before element. Let's see if this has a width of 100%. That actually didn't do it for us. So what's missing here? Width 100%, height 0.5 rem. Okay. So our before element. Okay. Just needs a display of block. Cool. Okay. Content is that. Display is block. If I reload, let's see where we actually are. We've got our health bar back in place, but it's now generated with a before attribute. So what we're going to do here is modify the width of this. The height is 0.5 rem. The width is going to be var health. Sure. We're going to leave that at 100% defined here, such that the width is 100%. And then what we'll do is when we take this opponent health prop, we will come down into our health bar, and we're going to give this an inline style where we set, let's see, where we bind to it. We cut that. I like to put the bound properties first because I think that that's easier to I don't know. I like to see the stuff that might change or the logical stuff happening first. This is going to say that health is, let's see, style, because this is a bound property, this is actual JavaScript, which means I think I can do just a string. No, this isn't going to work. This needs to be a string like that, and then a template literal. There we go. Health is opponent health in percentage. So now we should still have this at 100%, but if I go to my app and I change that to 50, I'm hoping to see that at 50%. And sure enough, I do. And sure enough, because it's relative to the size of its parent, which is this div and not the parent div, it is in the right spot. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now that we have that logic in place, oops, data.opponent health. Now that we have that logic in place, we want something else down here for our opponent health. We're going to do another v input. And I'm going to have that self-closing. I copy some of this stuff, paste it there. I want this to actually be, what is it? I want this update change, update data, which I think I want down here as well. Instead of that, we're going to cut that. Actually prefer that being down like there. I'm so like nitpicky about where I put stuff. I would hate to be on my team. No, I don't. That's not true. I've probably had a lot of fun being on my team. Okay, so type here is actually going to be a range. And this is going to be called health. And this is going to be like opponent health. Normally, I like to use kebab case for HTML attributes, but because we're using this update data function to update all of our data, it was just easier that way. So let's see where we are. So here we have our health. It's not working. No, it is working correctly. If I set this down, way down, I can see that his health is super low. And if I set this way up, I can see that the health is way up. What I don't see is the initial value. And that's because I'm not binding my input. So the model should be data opponent health. And because it's bound, actually, I don't think I need to do this update data thing. So that should be fine. So we start out, we reload. We've got 100% up here. We've got 100% up here. We move that down, and we see that that is updating. That's super cool. Okay. And let's see. The other thing that I want to do with this is another bit of CSS stuff where I want this to be a default value. Var is going to be the health bar color. And here we're going to set the health bar color to default to lime green. And my health bar before here now we need to do a little bit of logic. So I'm going to play with something that I don't know if this is going to work in Vue or not. But one cool thing that we can do with Vue is instead of passing a string, and this is something I know that does not work in React, is you can pass an object. I probably shouldn't say that. There's probably ways. But you can pass an object. So we're going to keep that. Something like that. So now we have an object. It's not proper syntax because this you can't use dash dash in an object. So we'll just put that as a string. It's complaining about something. Health string is not assignable to type string value. It's not a known property. That actually probably is going to work just fine if I consider that. Yeah, it works fine. False flag. What we have here is now we're going to put that onto a new line, and we're going to put that onto a new line. And actually, for readability, we'll do this. There. That's my divs. And this is now going to have another property called health bar color. And this is something close to what I want. So it kind of works. We can see now that we've got green and red, right, based on the health bar, which is cool. I want to see Pokemon health bar color logic. If I can just see that here in the images. Looks like we can be kind of, I think we can just kind of flub this. So one thing that I do need access to is some different colors. So let's go CSS colors, like named colors. Okay, because I love using named colors for some reason. Maybe because it just gives me a nice limited choice of options to choose from. That's not what I was looking for. Let's see, CSS color names. Nope. This should be it. Yeah, this is it. For some reason, it's not scrolling to the right spot. Okay. Here we go. Here's my color names that I want to work with. So I need a red and I need a yellow. What do y'all think? Anything stand out for red? Crimson, that's a pretty cool one. Dark red. Gold and goldenrod. I like goldenrod and I like gold. And I think we're already using gold, so that's a good one to choose. Indian red is pretty good. Maroon, I'm a big fan of. I don't like just red. It's a little bit too out there. So how do we feel about using gold for the yellow? And maybe dark red or crimson for the red. Firebrick is an interesting name. Where are we at? Firebrick. I like Firebrick. Good choice. Names is almost just as important as the actual color. So let's go here. If the opponent health is greater than 50%, if the opponent health is greater than 50%, I want to try setting this to, well, no, I want to say if it's, this is going to be tough. This may not be tough. This might be tough. If it's less than 50%, or if it's less than 20, if it's less than 50%, we're going to set it to gold. Otherwise, the tricky thing is if it's less than 50% and it's less than 25%, we're going to get into some interesting situations. But for the time being, if it's under 50%, if it's not under 50%, we're just going to set this to false. And hopefully it doesn't set that. Where are we at? That doesn't need a comma. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Where is this? Oh, that's there. Okay. Wow. It's kind of a long string. Okay. Otherwise, we'll do the same thing. If it's under 25, we're going to set it to Firebrick. Otherwise, we'll just set that to false. We're complaining about something. It's under 25. Firebrick. All right, let's just see if we got this. Right now, it's not showing up at all. So great. Cool. Good job, Austin. Nailed it. What have we got? Okay, we've got style is health 100%. Health bar color is false. Okay, that's not going to work. Clearly, that's not going to work. That's weird because I thought if this was just like a false thing, it wouldn't show up at all. Oh, I see the problem. Okay. The problem is we set this as a percentage. This should not be a string. That should not be there. That should not be there. Yeah, because I was basically converting the Boolean false to a string of false. Okay, so I think this should work. If we set it to false, we shouldn't see anything at all. And no, I'm just spreading misinformation about this whole situation. Okay. What if I just what if I just leave this as false? You're telling me this is going to actually come up in there? I don't think it's supposed to. Well, I guess I'm wrong. That's all right. That's not the first time. Won't be the last time. All right, that's not going to work. Very well. This is easy. I mean, this is honestly easy enough to solve. I shouldn't be doing all of this to begin with. This is going to be health bar color. And all we need here is up here, instead of trying to do all of this logic inside of the template, which doesn't make sense anyway, we're going to do it right here inside of our script. We have our URL, and we want essentially the same thing as we have here. Another computed value, which is, what was it? The health bar color is what we called it, I think. So health bar color. And we're going to take all this stuff out. Get rid of that dangling comma. Get rid of that. And we're going to pull the opponent health out of the props. And we're going to say if the opponent health is less than 50, we'll return gold. Get rid of that. We'll do, yeah, that same line, please. That was looking pretty good. That's not quite right. We want fire brick if it's less than 25. I actually have this logic backwards now because in this, if we run this, if we are less than 25, this is going to hit, this is going to run first, and it's always going to return gold. So if it's less than 25, we'll return fire brick. If it's less than 50, we'll return gold. Otherwise, we'll return, what was it, lime green, which means in the other place that I am using lime green, I probably don't need that. I'm going to leave it there just in case. And here we are. We are at 100%. We go down. We can see we're down. We keep going down. Zoom out so we can see it at the same time. And we move that. We move. What the heck? Oh, I can't. Come on now. This freaking field set issue. Annoying. Boop. There we go. Something like that. These field sets are going to be the death of me. Why is this field set working correctly and this one not? Is it because there's something there? But there should be something there on this one as well. Maybe if this is like position relative, no? Right, well, regardless, let's see. Okay, I think if I do this, I can see it fine. So we can see as I drag this, the health bar changes. And if I get down below 50%, it goes to yellow. If I get down below 25, it goes to Firebrick, which I think looks about right, right? Is that right? I think that's right. That works for me. It would be kind of cool to do like a fainted one, but I don't think we're going to go that far. Okay, so that is working as expected. Cool. So now I can say I want to choose to fight JavaScript, and then I think one thing that I could do here is when I upload a file, I can change the Pokemon name to the file name, which makes sense to me. So in my app, another thing that I'm going to change is the logical order of this input and the opponent name. And on file change, we're going to do that. We're going to what are we going to do? We want to get the files. So const file equals files at 0. We're going to set that to just file. I don't need that. And then we're going to see what we're going to grab from the file. So open up the log, come over here, choose a file, and here's my file. I get the file.name, and I think what I want to do is basically grab the file.name up until the very last period. So there should be like dot last index of, yeah. Cool. We're gonna say const name is going to equal file.name dot slice, and I want to slice from 0 to. Oh, I'm going to set this to let name. Let name equals file name, and then we will update name equal name dot slice from 0 to the name dot last index of dot. Perfect. And then when our opponent changes, we play a random thing on load. We set the, where do we set the opponent URL is that, and data dot opponent name equals name. Cool. So with that, right now we're fighting Raikou, but I can change that to JavaScript logo, and we see that the name is set to JavaScript logo. And the health is up there, and we can, oops, that's right, this freaking field set thing, man. So annoying. I have no idea what to do about that. I have one idea what to do about that, which is kind of a janky idea, but we could technically put this form. Maybe it's because it's a form, but we could have this like a z index of 1, in which case this should be on top now. Yeah. That is called a hack, which is not ideal. Next idea is maybe it is that it has something to do with it being a form. So let's try this. Div will cut this class out, put it on that. And then we'll cut that end of the div out and remove that extra thing. We'll go down to the form, move those over, put that there. And that did not fix it. So that was a waste of time. Okay, one thing I just noticed I want to fix is the Poke Center. I want to cut this out because that's not how I want to do this anymore. Poke Center. I no longer want to do the Poke Center with a ref, but handle submit. We will take the Poke Center is going to be new audio. Let's see. I guess I can just do that here, right? Const Poke Center equals new audio. And we can set the PokeCenter.source to be audio PokeCenter. It should be MP3 because I don't have the OGG. We'll get rid of that, and then that should work just as well without using a source or having the ref. Let's confirm. Sneasel, generate my banner. I definitely heard it. I don't know if you did, but I definitely heard it. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Man, we are making some good progress. Except for with this thing. Cool. Cool. Now it is time to add some UI down in the bottom right. Let's see, my app preview. I want my opponent wrapper. Nope, that's fine. I want this to not be, where is it? Here. I actually don't want this to be off. I think I want this to be right on the edge. So this should go right on the edge, and you're fighting them. That's going to make it easier because I want to put this dialog or this thing right on the bottom right edge. So that'll give us a little bit more room to work with. So let's go and do that. Where's my dialog? Right here. My app preview. Let's see, let's get this avatar back in place. Now we can see that. That's great. Oh no, I got rid of my app SVG. There we go. That's so cool. Okay. App preview is now going to have this dialogue in it as well. And this is an interesting thing that's going on here now is I have everything on here absolute positioned. And I think that I could have accomplished all of this layout with CSS Grid, which maybe that is the approach that I should take, where essentially this whole element, this whole preview element would be a CSS Grid component. And in the top left, where are we? This top left thing would take up essentially a grid position, and then the opponent wrapper would take up a grid position, and then the other like foreground thing would take up a grid position, and then this dialogue element that I just added would take up a grid position. So you could have like 4 sort of quadrants, right? And then, yeah, you could position things that way. That might make it easier because absolute positioned is great to move things exactly where you want them, but it's also a pain in the ass to get them to respect, like when they kind of have a collision, to respect each other's space, because absolute positioned elements are removed from the flow of the document, meaning that the document doesn't know that there's a div here and there's a div here, and if the space gets too small for them to live together happily, they'll just kind of like overlap each other. It's a weird thing that for this sort of application may or may not apply. I'm not sure, but worth considering. Anyway, I've been doing everything absolute position, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do class absolute. Do I have dialogue? Okay. For dialogue, we don't want to mix where the styles are and where the element is. So that's going to go here. It's kind of at the very end. And we're going to say this is bottom 0, right 0. Let's see where we are right now with that. There it is. It's going to get the same width as, what was it? My status, I think. Yeah, my status. Where is the width of that thing? This fool. With, oh, yeah, because I have a class for that. So, dialogue is position absolute, width of 1/2, a background of white, and a color of black. There it is. That's really freaking cool already. And I think essentially what I want here is, what I'm thinking is, because we sort of run into this weird issue where the actual Pokemon battle on like Game Boy, I guess, the actual Pokemon battle is going to work a little bit different, because as you can see, we kind of have it similar, where you have the opponent name on the top left, your Pokemon's name on the bottom right, but then you have your choice of options here. And the reason why I don't want to do that is because the whole point of this app is to make it look like your little Twitter avatar is in that location. Looks like Kotin, we had a question. Is your app responsive to other screen sizes too with absolute? You can use position absolute and adjust things to different screen sizes. It sort of depends. Like if I change, no, not if I change the screen size. If I change the size of this, right? Let's say this div was responsive to different screen sizes, and I change it, you can see that the dialogue and the different elements are responding accordingly, right? Like this is a really tiny screen now that we're like theoretically a tiny screen that we're looking at, and it works. The whole concept behind responsive design isn't that things necessarily have to wildly change, but just that on various screen sizes, they look appropriate. And this definitely looks appropriate on a small screen. So if or when we get to responsive designs and maybe like this all turns into a single column thing, then yes, you can code things such that absolute position can be responsive. It does get more difficult though. Again, going back to that idea that once you absolute position something, it gets removed from the flow of the document. That means it's not going to collide with other things to, sometimes move them out of the way, or if you have like a flex element and you have two items in it, if the screen gets too small, you can create it, you can code it in a way that when they collide, if it gets any smaller, they just like stack, right? That's like common responsive design pattern. You can't do that with absolute position because they're not in the flow of the document, meaning they don't ever collide. They just kind of take up the same space, the same place. So answer is it depends. In our case, this is pretty well coded for responsive design already, or at least thinking ahead that this may be used on a small device. This already kind of works. Where this kind of doesn't work is that this image is based on whatever this width is here, so it can never get less than 600. So how could we solve that? Well, we could make it based on aspect ratio instead of actual physical width. I don't know. We may get that at some point. Looking at your Game Boy Color now. Yeah, let me know. Oh, wait, this is looking like your Game Boy Color? Yeah, it's pretty... I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so... next thing. We have the dialogue, so let's... Is this just like ready? Yeah, okay, so it's in place. So I think what I'm going to do is, now that we're pretty much done with the opponent, right? Like, we have the health, we have the name, we have the file. I don't know what else I would do with the opponent. You could set the level, but I mean, that's getting into the real nitty gritty. So I'm going to do, what would you call it? Like self? What would you call yourself? Player. That's a good one. Okay, so same concept as before. We have a field set for the opponent. We have a field set for the player. Trainer. Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. So field set. Legend for the field set is trainer. We use a field set because we know that we're going to have multiple inputs that are all related to the same thing. Okay, we're going to have the trainer name, I suppose. I don't think we do have the trainer name, really. No, and I don't think I want to either, because technically if we're going to upload this to like Twitter, yeah, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is have two options. You can either choose a Pokemon, or you can choose to have a dialogue, which I think is just going to be a text input. We're going to do that. So what this is going to do is, let's see. I'm going to have this be, the V model is going to be the trainer, the trainer, I don't know, action. Dialogue. Sure. Trainer text. Trainer text. This is going to be text. This is going to be trainer text. This is going to be a type of text area and trainer text. My reactive data here. We've got the opponent section. Now we've got, let's see, here we're going to have the scene. Here we're going to have the opponent. Here we're going to have the trainer. And the trainer text is going to be based on the random Pokemon. And this is going to be a wild random Pokemon.name.to uppercase appeared. So did that work? Technically, maybe. A wild magneton appeared. It looks like it worked down there. Now we need the trainer text. Go down, down here. I think what I can do here is, instead of having to list out all of these things, I think I can just do vbind equals data. And maybe that should work. Looks like it does, right? It's all being passed in there correctly. We've got eradicate. And then the width, the height, yep, everything's working as expected. Great. And then I think we can do the same maybe with that. No, it's not going to like that because we have duplicate attributes. That's fine. That's okay. Okay, so the app preview now needs another property. So this is going to be scene. This is going to be opponent. And this is going to be the trainer. And then the trainer text is string default of nothing. It will default to something, actually. It's going to default to this same sort of logic. Okay. I wonder if I can reference the opponent name as a default value. So I know that I can use this may work. Let's say a wild Pokemon appeared. And then I'm going to see if I can console log the arguments and console log this. We'll see what this does. Let's go to my console. I'm not sure where that's happening, so reload. Doesn't look like that's happening. Oh, because I'm not actually using it, maybe? So let's go to the trainer text. That should be in here. Which is really cool. Oh, look at that. That's like one of my favorite Pokemon. Okay, well, I don't think I can do what I was thinking about doing, but this is working as expected anyway. So we're going to say that the default value for the trainer text is just going to be that a wild... Come on, are you going to help me? No. Pokemon appeared. There we go. That's the default value. We have some errors in here somewhere now. There. And that is working as expected. A wild Doduo appeared. And then a wild Mew appeared. Then a wild Ledian appeared. Cool. So now if I change this opponent to Rhyhorn, we don't get the update there. So I think this is the last thing I'm going to fix before the end of the stream. So what happens here is trainer text in my app is vModel is trainer text. It's updating that correctly, I believe, because if I change this to multiple exclamation marks, we can see that that is changing accordingly. What's not happening is, got it. When I set the opponent or change the file, I need to change the... This is tricky. This is tricky. So this is when you get into one of those UIs where it's like, if I haven't modified this at all, it would be kind of nice if when I change this Rhyhorn to Wheezing, that changed as well. But if I have modified that, it would be really annoying if I changed the Pokemon and then my work got undone, right? So for this, I mean, this is easy enough. We're going to say we're going to do this. When my text area changes, so at change equals prevent over, or like, I don't know. I'm just going to say custom text equals true. We're actually going to say that data.custom text equals true. Then we're going to come up here to our data, which is somewhere around here. Custom text is false. Anytime that changes, it should be updated. So custom text should now be like true when I change that. And on file change and on set opponent, we're going to say when we set an opponent, if not data.custom text, data.trainer text equals exactly that. And the same thing right here. When that finishes loading, sure, it's kind of the same thing. This is a lot of code that I'm now repeating, and I could probably abstract to simplify. This is an app that I don't really care to do that on. So let's see. So we have the name already. We can just say if the data is not custom text, then we'll change the trainer text. All right, let's test this out. So now I expect if I change the Pokemon name, I should see this change. So Chikorita, no, we're going to go to Kabuto. And sure enough, it worked. If I change this to a bunch of exclamation marks, it changes it up here. It does not change it here, which maybe that's fine. If I change this again to Ditto, we still get this change. But now, if I add a bunch of exclamation marks here, we should see that this stays the same. So if I change Ditto to Pinsir, it does not change. That's exactly what I want. And then we also want this to change with the file change. So if I check my JavaScript, we do see the JavaScript logo in there, and that's this is what I wanted to get to today. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to make this a little bit taller now. Actually, no, I think I'm going to change where this is positioned. So let me go app preview. And what other features am I looking to add? I'm not sure yet. Let me see. My top should probably be like 45%. Yeah, move that up a bit. Maybe let's even do like 40%. Okay, so now that's up there. That's looking good. Let's choose my JavaScript file. That's going too tall now. Okay, let's go here. 45 is all right. What other features am I looking to add? So I think maybe the last thing I want to do is I might want to toggle for like the UI state or like these UI elements, like enable or disable these overlays. And then I want to do the same thing here down below here. But I want it to essentially be able to toggle this description or like this text or status. So then that like shows up down here. And that's I think that's going to be, that might be it. Like after that, it's going to be mostly polish. There's a bunch of stuff that I think we need to fix with like, yeah, like the sand file is missing. I could probably just fix that real quick. Where am I? My public should have images, and we've got cave, forest, grass, mountain, snow, water. We just don't have sand. Oh no, there's midground sand, but there's not background sand. Yeah, okay. So fixing things like that. Some of these don't have, like this doesn't have the midground platform. This doesn't have either midground or foreground platforms. And then I think maybe some of the time of day. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, stuff like that. It might be cool since this is a stream not just about like building a Pokemon thing. This is like a web development stream. It might be cool to actually look at cleaning up some of this stuff. Like this file is freaking huge. Well, it's less than 300 lines, which isn't actually freaking huge. And so much of that is this just HTML stuff. But I don't love how sort of complicated some of this is. So refactoring might be cool. I don't know. Let me know, because if that stuff all sounds boring, we can always just move on to a new project. I want to keep these streams interesting and engaging. So yeah, you tell me. But until then, I didn't say I was going to fix anything else today, right? Lotad. No, I think we got to the end of it, the end of today. Yeah, I mean, this needs a lot of work to actually have it look cool. So might be cool to make this look cool and add responsive styles and stuff. Like this looks like butt. Yeah, but it's not bad. It's not bad on desktop. Check that out. I could even I guess I could scale these up, because right now this does not scale very well. But that's it for today. So let's go back to the project. Yeah, cool. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to take off. I'm going to build my little avatar for today because I'm doing this every day as I build it. And we're going to say a wild JavaScript appeared. We're going to say boop. Cool. Let's put the health bar down there. Let's see. JavaScript is kicking my butt. Yeah, I'm gonna generate this and upload it to Twitter today. So wait, I gotta do this one more time. Let's pause this and let's turn this volume all the way up. Let's see. It's not gonna let me choose it again, so let's cancel and then let's get the sound effects. Yeah. And then shoot, I want to fix that. JavaScript is kicking my butt. And then we're going to generate this banner. It's so freaking cool. Oh man, I love it. It's just the little things. I want to do that same polish to the rest of the experience. So that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to see if there's anyone else that I'm interested in rating. It looks like Splashly's on today. So I think we're going to head over there and say what's up. Until then, I will be back on Friday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard. So I will catch you then. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. See ya. So slash raid Splashly. And the raid is on.